We had this proposed economic recovery plan, which was quite important in terms of figures, 750 billion euros of joint debt issuance. Smaller countries are against it. Do you think it will be able to be voted through anyway?
Yes, definitely it will be voted, it will be approved. We will have negotiations, as always, among member states. But I think it was impressive how quick and fast quick and strong, was the reaction of European institutions and member states. If you look behind us, in fact, we have only less than 3 months from the initial decisions that were taken in the middle of March from the ECB, from the European Commission, and then from member states. And in these 80 days, measures at national level and European level are really, as we say, unprecedented. So we don't have only national reactions that are impressive. Yesterday, the German plan was presented, and as you know, it is a very strong plan. But we have, for the first time, so to say, a European common fiscal power in this recovery. And this will be discussed, but it will, at the end, be approved. And I think it is really an opportunity for the Union to be more competitive and stronger together.
But, Mr. Commissioner, what makes you so confident that actually this will garner unanimous approval by member states? Will they have concessions? How can you turn the countries that so far have been very reluctant on side?
Well, the reaction I saw to such a bold and, I repeat, unprecedented initiative, because we are talking of the fact that the European Commission will go to the markets and borrow 750 billion euros, issuing common debt to finance the recovery. Confronted with this proposal, member states reacted in different ways, but I have to say nobody slammed the door in front of this. Everybody is, not every member states, but the majority of member states are in a negotiating position, and knowing how it functions here in the Union, a negotiating position brings at the end an agreement.
When you look at what the Commission had proposed in terms of a series of new EU taxes to finance the repayment of the 750 billion euros of joint borrowing, it again requires unanimity, but it's joint taxes like digital tax or financial transaction tax that in the past were so difficult to agree on. Why do you think this time is different and that countries will agree on that?
I would say two things. One is that the repayment of these financial tools will be in the long run. The maturity will be very long, and repayment will begin in 2028 and end in 2058. And you know that we have very cheap money now in the markets, and so this will not be such an important burden for our finances. Having said this, yes, we need to strengthen our own resources, and I think we will be able to do this, especially in the environmental side. We have two groups of potential new own resources. One are the two issues discussed at the OECD level, digital taxation and minimal taxation. And on these two issues, we are committed to find, or at least to try to find, a global solution. And then we have the environmental, energy taxation, And I think that having the Commission decided this priority of the European Green Deal, we will have good decision on this kind of taxation.
But what incentives is the Commission actually willing to negotiate with in the countries that will prove to be more problematic? Are we talking about budget rebates? How much of a leeway do you have in terms of incentives? How aggressive will those incentives be?
Well, I think that the awareness in these countries that we have a common future and that the prosperity of also their citizens is strictly connected to the prosperity of the European single market and of the European economy as a whole. I think that the real game changer in this discussion was this awareness. We spent 10 years without any possibility to decide some common fiscal tool. And we were able to decide this now because this terrible crisis increased the awareness. So I think that also in the business communities of the more reluctant countries, in the working unions of the more reluctant countries, this awareness is very strong. So some detail will be changed and negotiated, but the core proposal will be approved.
Commissioner, what timeline do you think these proposals will be agreed on?
I think it's possible that the agreement of the European Council, so of the member states, will come in July. By the way, in July the 1st, we begin the 6 months of presidency of the Council from Germany, and this will also, I think, help the agreement. And then we need the approval of national parliaments. So this will take a few months more. What is clear is that being this fund linked to the multi-annual budget of the Union, it will be in place beginning of January, the 1st of January.